inside the Now Morning Show, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are celebrating Calypso History Month all month long. It's October in Trinidad and Tobago, and that means it's Calypso History Month, yeah?
It is, and we are excited over here. Hope you're excited over there as well.
As we just heard from Megan Sylvester from TUCO, we're celebrating Brother Resistance this month.
You're just cutting down my accent, you know, I see, you know. You're just used to that rear.
The bell rings is actually the theme that they're going with this year. So the bell rings will be the theme for all the education missions that TUCO going to be embarking on inside Calypso History Month, celebrating Brother Resistance. And this morning, we're going to do a little bit more celebration.
Who better to talk about that than his brother, Neil Lewis, and of course, Omari Ashby, who is a rapso artist and an adjunct lecturer at UWI. So let's say good morning to all of you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being with us here on the Now Morning Show.
Morning, morning. Great to be here.
Oh, God, I understand so boring. Who didn't drink the coffee? Now, when you come to the morning show, you have to come lit. You know, your energy levels have to be turned up, you know?
Listen. Friday after 6 days. Remember days when you're walking on. For some of us who ain't at work yet, we might be up at this hour, but we ain't quite But don't worry,
but you know
2 minutes into the interview, we got to go.
If there's anybody who understands you, it's me. Because every morning until listeners have to drag me off my bed. I don't mean some mornings, every morning. So I got you. So gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us. We're celebrating Calypso History Month, but more important, paying a tribute to Brother Resistance. So Neil, let me start with you. Brother Resistance. But talk to us about, let me make sure I said Lutalo Masimba. All right, I didn't want to get it wrong, you know. Lutalo Masimba. Before we get to Brother Resistance, I just wanted us to, since we are paying tribute, let's pay tribute. Let's find out who the man was.
I kind of want to find out about Roy Lewis before we get to Lutalo Masimba. That's why I want to start with Neil.
You want to start
I
with
want to go from
Lewis.
the beginning because Neil is a man who have all that background information.
It's true.
So talk to us, Neil, about the man from Roy to Lutalo to Brother Resistance.
Yeah.
Right. Morning, Natalie. Morning, Ruckus. Morning to Trinidad and Tobago. Thanks for having me on this program. Do we have a whole day to talk about Roy Lewis into resistance? Because it will take probably more than that, honestly. His time started at Chinnipo Government Primary School, where he started writing.
Wow.
And then he passed common entrance for Queen's Royal College, which was a huge thing in the village of Chinnipo at the time. And then at QRC, continued writing. I'm 6 years younger than him, and when I entered QRC, he was in upper 6. And at the time, they had a DJ competition, right? At that time, he was named Roy Lewis, of course, that was his given name. They had a DJ competition that Resistance entered. And he had to go with a sobriquet. And his schoolmates said, "You are resistant things, you know, so you should go with the name Resistance." So that's how he was blessed with the name Resistance.
Wow.
Nice.
Right?
Since you're
when
talking
I entered
about
QRC,
since high school. Since high school, he had that name?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's only when I entered QRC I realized the power that my brother had. Because QRC's lifeblood around football was revolved around resistance. He used to take calypsos and convert them to school chants. Was a very strong participant in creating central T-shirts for intercol games, providing support for the football team. I was also told in a little chat the other night that the first school's carnival band came out of QRC. And the first steel band, or one of the first steel bands at the time, participated in Children's Carnival, and that was back in like 1973. And he was an advocate for that. He was also an actor. And later in life, he portrayed the role of Aldrich the Dragon in Earl Douglas's play Dragon Can Dance.
Oh, nice.
On 2 occasions. On the last occasion, he was nominated for a Cacique Award. And yeah, so that's where his journey started. So I don't want to, I could take whole morning, so I'll break there right now.
But you know, that's where his journey started, and of course we saw, a lot of us, we would have been able to see the trajectory over the years. But Omari, as a rapso artist, tell me your impression of Brother Resistance, first time seeing him?
For me, it was amazing, and the first time would have been on TV, the Dancing Shoes video. That would have been my first, you know, you put on your dancing shoes, and I'm looking at this thing in amazement because I've always been attracted to entertainment and local entertainment through my parents. But you know, as a young person, you're also hearing Sugar Hill Gang and all these things coming at you. So when you see this man on the TV sounding like what you kind of have in your head without the accent, you know, it was so amazing for a young person. I might have early 80s, so I probably would have been just becoming a teenager there. And so that was amazing to me. It was, you know, the song was bad, the artist was bad, and so it registered very strongly in my mind at that time.
Omari, you said something just now that tickled my fancy. You said that you heard a sound that didn't have an accent. Is it that in that time the music here, like some of the music didn't sound like how you would sound, and therefore Brother Resistance brought that to the table, so you were attracted to it?
Well, not necessarily, because you always had soca, you always had calypso.
Yeah.
But as a young person, you know, as a teen, you're also listening to what is coming in via KCK, Top 10 or Solid Gold or whatever was the thing. So you're listening to that as well. So for, you know, for young people, you tend to kind of lean to what is ever hip worldwide and coming into you via satellite. So the local balance and stuff was strong in terms of calypso and soca. But also at that point, hip-hop and rap was on the rise, this kind of oral style. And of course, out of Jamaica, you would have been now turning away from rockers into dancehall kind of thing. So that is also there. So, you know, for somebody young, you're hearing American version of it. You're hearing the Jamaican version of it. And it's not that the Trinidadian version didn't exist, but it was now being broadcast on the television, you know, for me at least, because remember they're working since the 70s. So, but for me at least, this is now my engagement with this amazing thing, you know.
Yeah, well, so Brother Resistance definitely influenced you getting into music. And over the years, how did he hone that skill, or the kind of relationship that you enjoyed so you could have learned from him?
Well, that is the other magical thing about Lutalo. Lutalo Masimba sacrificed a lot of the artists that is Brother Resistance so he could make way for hundreds of other artists. So he would be doing the business of the Rapso movement more times than he would be doing the business of Brother Resistance. And what that meant is that Brother Resistance got a little less attention, but the Rapso movement got to see the likes of Homefront, Ataclan, Kindred, all talents that he would have helped, he would have groomed, he would have provided stages for. So for instance, us Kindred, from the time Brother Resistance knew that we were doing Rapso, any stage that there was that he knew of, he would ensure that we were there, that we had a chance to shine, that we would be heard. And more times than not, now me looking back as an older person, we would be paid for these gigs, and I'm 100% sure that a lot of those gigs he would have been paying us out of his pocket as if the promoter was paying us, and not saying anything, just so that we could grow as artists, we could see the potential to earn. So he at great personal sacrifice, but also for him, great joy, he would make these sacrifices and ensure that the next generation would have what they needed to come forward.
I'm curious, Neil. We always hear these stories from artists, you know, about resistance, and stories very similar to what you just shared there with us, Omari. But Neil, in his personal life, was he the same way?
Yeah. Very, how to describe him? I call him a multifaceted individual, and that side of him about he had a vision. So I just want to take off a bit on where Omari left off. He had a vision. So like in 1989, he created something called National Day of Rapso, and it was just a media event. In 1990, that was before the attempted coup. We had a an exhibition at the National Library for the National Day. We call it the National Day of Raps on Oral at that time.
And
that evening, you were supposed to have a performance at the Heritage Library. And that didn't work out because electricity went. So we asked City Hall if we could use the hall. And probably a good thing fortuitously, because on the evening we had almost full capacity at City Hall. And on that evening, we had Kindred from Omari and Akinde. We had Homefront. We had Shantwell releasing their works before they actually were heard on Kiskidi Caravan. I ran into Christopher Cozier recently. I'm sure you all know a really established artist, internationally renowned, who told me one of his early exhibits was in a show at Resistance, and they had, when he asked Resistance if he could display his art, Resistance said, yeah, come true, man, come true. So he was that kind of person, and a little bit more on the Rapso night, it eventually grew into a month of activities, which included workshops, because I heard Megan speaking earlier about doing workshops. We did workshops at the secondary schools, at the libraries across the island. So we had a collaboration with the National Library Association.
Nice.
We also had several events that were created, and particularly for young people. So we had children's story time that we got funding from corporate to get tickets for children to come from the homes to attend the event. We had Raging Rapso, which focused on young budding artists like Omari and Akinde and Homefront. We had Breaking New Ground, where we provided young artists who wanted to get into the art form. We had workshops with them where we prepared them for getting on stage, and Omari was a major part of that. And then they would break ground when they perform on stage, and that was the first major performance.
Nice.
And then we had National Rapso Night. The first Rapso Night, we didn't have a cast. We just had a show with Resistance as the main artist, and we had problems with artists coming to perform. In fact, I was asked to MC that show my first time on stage with a mic. So yes, he was really embracing and all incoming. He had this vision, and he just wanted to carry as many people with him on this journey that he had.
Well, boy, oh boy. Then I guess it's a great thing to celebrate him this month for Calypso History Month with TUCO. So thank you, gentlemen, so much for joining us this morning and for sharing a little bit on Resistance, the man and the artist.
And Mr. Lewis.
And the mentor. and even sharing about a little bit about Mr. Lewis from back in the day. All right. Thank you so much, Neil Lewis and Omari Ashby. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you so much.